Street.
All right, we are just right outside the White's residence back in 1996. It's Christmas night, and we are going to take the same route that the Ramseys took home that night. They left the Whites at around 9 o'clock, 9:30, and they went to the Walkers, and we are going to start the trip over to the Walkers. The Ramseys said when they left the Whites that they dropped off gifts
Turn left onto
to
Aurora Avenue.
the Walkers and the Steins, and then they went home. And they arrived home. The original statement was they arrived home at around 10 p.m. that evening, and in subsequent interviews and narratives, that changed back to about 9 o'clock, some even 8:30, but where they first stopped to give a gift basket to the Walkers. And I am recreating the route that the Ramseys took home to see how long it took that evening. There is a melting snow on the roads. I believe it snowed a couple of days ago, and it's in the 50s today, so it's melting. And it's really kind of just eerie knowing almost 27 years ago that this is the exact path that the Ramseys took with John and Patsy and Burke and JonBenet in the Jaguar that night, Patsy's white Jaguar. And so this first trip from the Whites to the Walkers will end up taking about 3 minutes drive time from 403 Cleveland Street to 1045 Lincoln Place. There are a couple of stop signs, and the terrain is quite hilly, like it is all over Boulder, especially in the neighborhood part of the let's see, 100. Okay, we turn here, make a left turn onto Lincoln Place, and it should be up here on the left side. The streets are kind of hard to maneuver. There's cars parked on both sides of the streets here. And so it was nearly 27 years ago on Christmas night that the Ramseys left the Whites around 9:30 p.m. and stopped off at the Walkers on their way home to drop off a gift basket. And I've always asked the question, and here we are, 10:45, Boulder, or Lincoln Place, the Walkers. So the Ramseys stopped at the Walkers.
Head north on Lincoln Place, then turn right onto College Avenue.
All right, so they stopped at the Walkers for a few minutes to visit and drop off gifts, and then they decided to do the same.
Turn right onto 10th Street
at the Steins residence. So it took about 3 minutes to get to the Walkers, just over 3 minutes, and then 10th Street, the Steins residence, is just around the corner.
In a quarter mile, the destination is on your left, 816 10th Street.
And this is also where the Ramseys stayed for about 6 months after the death of JonBenet. They stayed with the Steins for about 6 months' time. And so it's interesting that the Walkers to the Steins is just around the corner. Susan Stein said that she saw the family intact, and that she saw the family and they were all bubbly, and it was the last time that she's seen the family intact. And after they visited with the Steins, they went in And if I remember correctly, John said that he stayed outside and John Bonet stayed outside because she was asleep in the car.
Is on your left, 816 10th Street.
But that was after.
Arrived.
And there's the Stein residence.
Starting route to 749 15th Street. Head south on 10th Street, then turn left onto Cascade Avenue.
All right, so when the Ramseys left the Steins, where Susan Stein said that she had seen the whole family intact and they were all bubbly and happy.
Turn right onto 15th Street.
John Bonet gets back in the car, if she was already in the car, and they travel home. And I am seeing how long it takes here to actually travel from the Steins to the Ramseys residence. If Susan Stein saw John Bonet awake, and if she helped carry presents in and she visited with the Steins that night, then how did she fall asleep when
at the next stop sign, turn right.
You know, when this trip here probably only takes about 80 seconds, a minute and 20 seconds.
At the stop sign, turn right onto 15th Street.
And we're already here.
Then the destination is on your right.
Already here at 15th Street. And as you can see, this trip, and of course they went down the alley, and I'm going around the front of the house this time.
The
and tomorrow,
is on your right.
I'm going to do this trip, and there's the Ramsey home. And so they're home. So I think that
arrived.
I'll be able to go back and look at the time, but it seems like that whole trip took about less than a minute and a half. And, you know, the Ramseys changed their story after 4 months' time and said that John Bonet had fallen asleep in the car on the way home, and John carried her up to sleep, and then that was it. That was the last time I saw it. See how convenient and easy that is? But that's not the original story that he told the police. He told the police, he told Officer French and Officer Arndt, Detective Arndt, that he had read a story to John Bonet when they had gotten home that night. So it's just interesting. I got it down.